Alright, I'm going to be talking about my final project proposal, in which I'm exploring the based on a true story phenomenon, analyzing the portrayal of female killers in Lifetime movies. So my idea for my project is I'd like to explore how female killers are portrayed in Hollywood movies, particularly those that are released by the Lifetime Movie Network, as that's a channel that's geared towards women and has released quite a few films dealing with female criminals or killers. I'm interested in looking at how the movies are cast and what types of women are being cast in those roles, um, and whether or not those accounts really are valid, how rooted in truth these based on a true story films really are, um, and then what the implications of the portrayals are. Because of course, if and I'm sure there's probably going to be trends that emerge, and if they're tailoring these films and these women to come across in a certain way on the screen, then there's surely bound to be some implications of that as a result. So my inspiration for wanting to look at this is I've mentioned throughout the course in a few of my pre-class and post-class reflections that I grew up, my first exposure to true crime media and like murder movies was watching Lifetime movies with my mom when I was a kid. I was really scared by them, but I grew up with them, and I remember watching quite a few and feeling sympathetic towards the women criminals in them. I don't know, I was a young child at this point, so I'm interested in revisiting these films to determine the source of those feelings, to see whether or not the women were victimized or what the situation there was, and just in general. So I'm interested in looking at Lifetime movies, but also taking the feminist angle from it, or lack thereof, depending on what I find. But I'm interested in how women are portrayed in the media and gender studies, so this is a good application of that. The form, I'm hoping to do a video review to get a little bit more creative with this. I want to do kind of an informal, like conversational film reaction video. Maybe make it a little bit humorous, but still keeping it very informative, analytical, combining my findings from all different films across the genre, and I'd like to brush up on my editing because I haven't really done anything like this before, so if it doesn't work out to do a video review, perhaps I'd do a written film review or a series or even just a formal essay, but I'm trying to use this as an opportunity to do something a little bit more creative because I don't usually do this kind of stuff. As far as what I hope the viewer gains from my project, I want to, in addition to myself coming away with these new viewpoints, I hope viewers will consider the way that female killers are represented in popular media, especially media that's being geared at women, and how dramatized biopics could potentially skew our views of crimes and the nature of certain types of crimes. Understanding the consequences of that and being more self-aware, understanding that maybe the way that these films are made could result in a skewed view on a certain crime or a certain criminal. And also just considering the sources of these true stories and how much based on a true story can really be trusted. That phrase, quote unquote, based on a true story, or quote unquote, true crime. So just kind of considering the meaning of all that when it comes to popular media. My steps to complete the process, I need to do a lot more planning and refining of my ideas, which I'm kind of honing in on now, writing a more concrete, finalized proposal. I need to do a lot of research, watching films, reading reviews, op-eds. I'm going to be looking at quite a few films, even though probably not all of them will go into the final project. I want to start with a pretty large sample, because I have the time to watch, a movie a night for this for a little while. Then I'm going to develop an outline, because I'm a very process-oriented person. I like to have multiple outlines, a lot of different steps. Then I'll be drafting my script, so kind of compiling all that concrete information and then trying to put a more entertaining spin on it, revising, finalizing the script, recording the video, editing the video, which should be a little bit tricky, but I guess it'll be fun to learn a new skill, writing the supplemental document, explaining the connections between the films, and analyzing it a little bit deeper, completing the final project, complete final project presentation. What I've done so far, I've done some preliminary research. I've looked at if there's going to be information on this out there, and there seems to be a lot of articles written about this kind of thing. I've also done some research. I've looked at a list of every Lifetime Movie Network movie ever released and kind of narrowed it down to a few that fit this genre a little bit more and seem to serve the goal of my research. So I need to continue. I've kind of narrowed it down the list. I might have to continue refining that a little bit once I watch them, see which ones make the most sense to really focus on. But as of right now, the films that I'm going to be looking at are films about Amanda Knox, Beautiful and Twisted, The Blue-Eyed Butcher, the Jodi Arias story, Lizzie Borden's story, The Pastor's Wife, which is about it's a true story about the wife of a pastor who murders him, and the Casey Anthony case, which is a little bit different from the others. In that it involves her child, which I'm sure most people remember, the Casey Anthony case that made national headlines. But yeah, this is looking at a wide variety of different female criminals, different types of homicides, different periods, different eras. So it should be a nice sample to look at. And lastly, as far as my concerns, I obviously am a little bit concerned about the scope of my research and not having a narrow or clear enough focus. But I think as I, go through those films and watch them and draw conclusions, comparisons between them, I'll be able to focus in on something a little bit clearer. Not being engaging or entertaining enough. As far as making a video, I don't really have any experience with that. As I said before, this will be my first time doing something a bit more creative than just a traditional academic paper, but I'm looking forward to it. And that kind of ties in with my last concern. This is my first time making a video, so I really know nothing about video editing, but what better time to pick up a new indoor hobby than during a pandemic? So I guess that should be fun too, to kind of explore, try and pick up a new skill, and see what I can learn in the next month or so. So yeah, that is my idea for my project, and thank you all for listening.